When most people think of the Second World War, they picture tanks, trenches and bombers. But the real fight for survival didn't just happen on the battlefield, it happened in mess tins, ration tins and field kitchens. Food was fuel, and for millions of soldiers and civilians it meant the difference between endurance and collapse. Yet there's a question that still fascinates survivalists and historians alike. Could those old wartime rations, designed for endurance under extreme conditions, still keep someone warm and alive today in 2025? The surprising truth is that some of their principles are not only valid, but scientifically sound, making them a blueprint for modern survival nutrition. The Second World War wasn't just a war of bullets, it was a war of metabolism. Soldiers on the Eastern Front or in the Ardennes were exposed to freezing conditions that could honestly kill faster than any bullet. Commanders quickly realized that victory depended on keeping men warm from the inside out. Rations weren't only about preventing hunger, they were designed to sustain body heat, maintain morale and keep energy levels high under brutal physical stress. The US K ration, for instance, was developed to deliver roughly 3,000 calories a day in a compact form. It wasn't gourmet, but it was functional. The inclusion of items like chocolate, hard biscuits, canned meat and powdered drinks was strategic. Dense calories, easy transport and quick metabolism. The Germans had their Erbswurst, a pea and pork sausage powder that could be mixed into boiling water to create a hearty, protein-rich soup in minutes. The British troops carried tins of bully beef, which is corned beef, and hardtack biscuits, which could last for months without spoiling. The goal was simple: keep soldiers warm, fed and alert, even in frozen mud or mountainous terrain. Today, the science of survival hasn't changed much. When the human body faces cold, it craves fat and carbohydrates because these macronutrients generate heat as they metabolize. That's exactly what Second World War nutritionists aimed for, even if they didn't have modern biochemistry to back it up. In a sense, they reverse-engineered survival through necessity. And it worked. WWII soldiers learned early on that external warmth was often unreliable. Fires could easily give away their positions, fuel was, pretty scarce, and nights out there in the Ardennes or on the Russian steppes could drop well below freezing. So they learned to eat heat. Meals were built around foods that produced sustained thermogenesis, meaning they helped the body create internal heat for hours after consumption. One practical example, actually, was the combination of fat and sugar found in chocolate and tinned meat. Fat metabolizes slowly, creating a longer, steadier energy burn. Sugar, on the other hand, provides an immediate burst of energy that keeps the body alert. Combined, these nutrients gave soldiers both short-term warmth and long-term endurance. That's why the D-ration chocolate bar, developed for US troops, was so dense it could barely be bitten into. It wasn't meant for enjoyment, but survival. Modern preppers and hikers, they still use this principle today, whether they realize it or not. Energy bars, nut mixes, or even high-calorie emergency rations follow the same formula: fat for endurance, sugar for speed, and protein for muscle repair. The ratios have barely changed since 1942. One of the most overlooked innovations of the Second World War rations was honestly the creation of self-heating systems long before the modern MRE. German and Japanese forces, as well as Allied engineers, experimented with chemical heating packs and field-expedient methods that allowed soldiers to warm their food in, well, just about any environment. For example, in the freezing winter of 1944, German units were issued small hexamine fuel tablets known as Esbit, which could heat soup or coffee silently and efficiently. These solid fuel tablets are, believe it or not, still sold today for campers and survivalists under the same name, unchanged in formula for nearly 80 years. They're lightweight, waterproof, and burn hot enough to boil water in just a few minutes. Allied troops soon adopted similar systems, improvising stoves from ration tins and shell casings. If you're in a survival scenario in 2025, the lesson here is timeless. Compact fuel sources and calorically dense foods are, frankly, worth more than fancy equipment. You can recreate a Second World War-style heated meal system today by carrying a few solid fuel tablets, a small metal cup, and high-fat rations. It's the same setup that helped soldiers survive winter campaigns across Europe and Asia. While no one would really recommend living off 1940s rations for the long term, they were often low in vitamins and fibre. The nutritional logic behind them still stands. You see, the combination of fat, sugar and salt wasn't random. In freezing temperatures, salt helps retain water, preventing dehydration, while fat and carbs convert directly to metabolic heat. Modern survival kits and MREs actually use nearly identical principles. For instance, a 2025 US military MRE provides about 1,250 calories per meal, with an average daily intake of 3,600 calories for field soldiers. That's nearly identical to World War II energy targets. The difference today is in micronutrient balance and variety, but the underlying philosophy remains unchanged: dense calories, shelf-stable food, and internal heat generation. Interestingly, some modern survivalists have tested original World War II rations found sealed and preserved. Reports suggest that the high fat and sugar contents allowed some items like chocolate or tinned beef to remain edible decades later. While it's certainly not recommended to eat 80-year-old food, it does show just how effective wartime preservation techniques were. If you're prepping for cold weather survival, well, the lessons from the Second World War can easily be adapted. Start by prioritizing foods that provide sustained warmth. Items like nuts, cheese, dehydrated soups, canned meat, and high-fat spreads. Carry compact heating options, such as Esbit tablets or alcohol stoves. And it's wise to learn how to create improvised field stoves using metal tins and airflow control, just the same way soldiers did in the Ardennes or even Siberia. For those who enjoy winter camping or remote hiking, using a WWII-inspired approach can actually make your setup lighter and more reliable. Focus less on comfort and more on endurance. Carry a few nutrient-dense bars instead of multiple meal kits. Keep a thermal cup and something to heat water. That's all a soldier needed in 1944, and it still works today. The genius of WWII rations wasn't in luxury or flavour, but in functionality. They turned basic ingredients into a survival system built on simplicity and endurance. They kept men alive through snow, starvation and siege, not by pampering them, but by fueling the fire within. In a world where food technology has advanced beyond recognition, the old rations remind us that survival doesn't always depend on modern convenience. Sometimes the smartest solutions were forged decades ago in the harshest conditions imaginable. If you found this exploration of WWII ration design fascinating, don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of Valor. Share this with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts who appreciate the forgotten ingenuity that fed an army and won a war. Because sometimes the warmest lessons come from the coldest winters in history.